Tonight we're live for an evening with Nat Adderley on the campus of Florida A&M University. I'm Rahman Johnson, and Bounce News starts right now.
You're watching Bounce TV News at 7.
Good evening, I'm Rahman Johnson. Thanks so much. You are on the news in Bounce, and it is an evening of epic proportions. We're sitting down all show long with a legend tonight, Nat Adderley, Nat Adderley Jr., who is a native of the Tallahassee area, Quincy specifically, but he is back for 2 evenings of jazz, and we're here for the first evening. I'm so excited to be a host and to be a part of the festivities. Now, Adderley, of course, his parents were teachers here at Florida A&M University, and he was also the nephew of the great jazz performer Julian Cannonball Adderley. But we're going to take a trip through time. Most people know Nat Adderley as being the musical director for Luther Vandross, and he's put so many musical acts on the ground and just created a great music legacy. So the question is, just exactly who is Nat Adderley? One of the reasons I got to say that I feel your music, we're born 3 days apart.
No, I didn't know that.
May
No.
26th.
Oh, man, you know, my cousin is May 27th, man. My only boy cousin.
Come on.
Cleaver Halen. Spent a lot of time here. I don't know if you know, he went to FAM.
Okay.
And he's May 27th.
See, it's that little
I'm older. I'm the oldest of all the grandchildren. He's second, but he's 4 days behind me. So, all right.
So, but growing up, and you grew up, born and raised in Quincy?
Well, I was born in Quincy.
Right.
I was raised. We moved up to New York when I was 1 year old. And then when I was 5, we moved to New Jersey. So I was raised in the Northeast, but I was born in Quincy.
And
spent the first year. Oh my goodness! Well, I just lost my grandmother, my Quincy grandmother, about 3 years ago. The house is still there, empty. I think somebody's in it. My cousin put somebody in it, and of course my paternal grandparents live right down the street from FAM on Young Street. You know, so I spent, even though I moved away,
this is still home.
This is still home. I lived the first year of my life in Quincy. And then, but then after we moved north, I was still here every summer up until I was around 11 or 12, just between Quincy and Tallahassee, between my grandparents here and my grandmother there, and them fighting over.
The Adderley family, from your dad to your uncle Cannonball, it was a legendary family. Did you know coming up how big of a musical dynasty that you were born into?
I don't know, man. I don't know. My folks just did everything they could to keep us from that. We just were raised without that. First of all, he wasn't around that much when I was young. I mean, until I was 10, they were on the road just all the time, 9 months out of the year. They were out. And yes, our upbringing was just so normal. Our schooling and, you know, and all of that. Even to the extent that they took forever to get piano lessons for me. You know, I would sit down at the piano when I was about, I guess, 3 or 4. I started just sitting down and trying to pick out stuff, and they say, "Oh my goodness, he picked out this tune." You know, so I had something going on, even then. But they did not want me to feel pushed, you know, or forced into music. So it was like 4 or 5 years before I actually got piano lessons.
A lot of people don't realize this. You were on one of your first projects at 11.
We just talked about that. Would y'all stop bringing up that record? I don't claim.
11 years old, and you were on this project with your uncle. And how did you go from not just pecking on the piano to them saying, that boy got talent?
They just heard this song, man. That was just one song. I just was in the basement in New Jersey playing a song, and Cannonball, I know he had moved to LA by then, so he was visiting, because I know it was him. My daddy didn't do it.
Okay.
He just heard the song and said, "That's a good song for an 11-year-old. I mean, no one claimed it was some brilliant, whatever, you know, but for an 11-year-old, that was something. And he just said, "We got to record that song." So they did. And I was still unaware, man. I don't think I wasn't at the session. They put turned the cassette player on and taped it, and went on about their business, and I went on outside to run around the block. I really didn't pay attention, and I did not pay attention to the music either until I was 13 or 14. So I really missed all that early, what they did in the late 50s and early 60s. Right. I was in a pop group. I was playing you know, I was into Motown and the Beatles.
Okay.
you know, and Bacharach and David. I just said that was what I loved. That was what I was into. So I had a band, and we did the Temptations tunes and, you know, whatever. I did have a little jazz band in high school, but you see what I'm saying? I really was, well, I wanted a career in pop. I got hired by Ashford and Simpson before I was out of high school, and so that was my big entrance.
It's on the way, yeah.
They just came upstairs and took myself and the drummer, Buddy Williams, and the bass player, Francisco Centeno. We were Valerie Simpson's first band. So I was on the way already. I did meet Luther. We were I was in, you know, a ton of bands. In high school, you know, I was in about 7 or 8 bands, but one of them Luther was in. So that's how I met him. So we stayed in touch. I went to college and we did a couple of records.
The rumor is that you and Luther met in high school and then you kept in contact.
No, I was in high school when I met him. He was out of high school. He was older than me.
So you trying to make sure folks know that Luther was
younger. He was 3 or 4 years older than me.
Okay.
So he was out of high school.
And my conversation with Nat Adderley continues tonight here at Lee Hall at FAMU. Coming up, the Robin Sherman Trio, Mark Russell, and of course tonight's featured performer, Nat Adderley. We've got so much to share about just a legend from right here in the Tallahassee area. More Bounce News is on the way. We'll be right back. The campus of Florida A&M University, we're at Lee Hall, where jazz legend Nat Adderley will take the stage in just moments. Good evening, I'm Rahman Johnson. This is Bounce News, and as you can see, the crowds are already filling in and grabbing their tickets, and it's still time for you to get down here at Lee Hall if you're in the Tallahassee area. Come by. Nat Adderley's jazz performance is going to be epic tonight, so get down. But first, Nat had a chance to share some things with me about a conversation he had with his father about him and the music industry.
He came backstage and said, "Oh my gosh, I've never seen a show like this. All the lights, all that stuff going, all this music, just flying off back and forth across the stage."
Check it out. I can't fool myself. I don't want nobody else to ever love
for years, but he loved it. He loved it, and wanted me to stay. I was considering leaving Luther. I had 4 kids, and my second marriage, which still is to a Tallahassee girl, and I thought I should consider leaving Luther to pursue more solo career in the arena, to have time to do other things. And my father just told me that was the craziest thing he ever heard. Wow. And I better not. He just was almost angry that I would even consider leaving that, you know. So no, he was into it. And I also thought I wanted to pursue jazz a little bit more. I was starting to try to consider being a player, and so I thought I wanted to maybe do that, and he said, "No, don't leave Luther. That's crazy." So he did get to see me be successful, but not in jazz. So I just know he's tickled now. He can't believe what I'm doing now. Yeah.
Never Too Much was one of the biggest songs of Luther Vandross's career, and it was all put together and musically composed by Nat Adderley Jr. We've got more of my talk with Nat in just a moment. We'll be right back. Live from the campus of Florida A&M University in Lee Hall, I'm Rahman Johnson. This is Bounce News, and my conversation with Nat Adderley continues. But first, Mika Highsmith takes a look at headlines from around the world in the Bounce News studios. Mika?
Rahman, tonight the United States is requesting non-essential personnel and civilians to leave 2 Middle Eastern countries. The State Department has issued the request in Lebanon and Turkey. Officials say that classified communications and current tensions in the area make it unsafe for Americans. The warnings come less than a week before the 12th anniversary of September 11th. While in Russia, President Obama addressed members of the civil societies during the G20 roundtable discussion. The president stressed the importance of freedom for everyone around the globe.
Freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, making sure that people can join together and make common cause around the issues that they care deeply about.
During his visit, the president also took time to meet with Russia's LGBT rights activist. An Indian author who wrote about her escape from the Taliban is dead. She was shot in the head by militants in Afghanistan. Rebels broke into her home, tied up her husband, and kidnapped her. Her body was found late yesterday outside a religious school. Officials say that she was a target because of her work. You can join me tonight on ABC 27 News at 11 for all your headlines. But for now, back to more jazz with Nat Adderley from FAMU. Rahman?
Thanks so much, Mika. And tonight, my conversation continues with Nat. And you know, Nat talked about some of the people that influenced him. He says he didn't get here all on his own. Back to more of my conversation.
Those 4 cuts were for the record, 4 tunes on that Never Too Much album.
Never Too Much, yeah.
Went back home. About 2 months later, he called me back up, said, I'm ready to do 2 more. Those 2 were Never Too Much and Sugar and Spice. I still remember very well doing that. Marcus was on the date. That was like one take.
And Never Too Much.
Never Too Much, and we didn't fix that either. That was
what it was.
Bam, that was what that was. Still pretty early.
Number
so
33 on the Billboard Hot 100.
That was
and
his
flew
big hit.
to watch him go from being such a vibrant, and you know, obviously he had his weight issues, big, a little back and forth.
And that's
but
what
he
ended up doing it for sure.
Yeah. How did that affect you though, seeing him go through the transition that he did?
Well, he had great doctors. I mean, he could not have lived through 5 of those, much less 11, without the great doctors that he had. But I don't know. I guess when it happened, I mean, we certainly didn't see it coming, but after he had the stroke, I looked back and just realized that he had just given up kind of on his diet. Just, you know, I mean, he was so focused before that on what he was eating, and so he, you know, and all that, and the exercise. He had a trainer backstage that was
constantly working.
He was always exercising between the sound check and the show and all that. There was a little period before that I just, looking back, I just think he got tired of all that. But the stroke, and you know, if he had been discovered, I mean, he'd have been all right. But he was living alone, so he had the stroke at like 10 o'clock at night, and he didn't get discovered until the next morning when his cleaning lady came in.
Some notes on some people who.
Where'd you get your information?
That's all right. I've been working. That's all right. I have been working. I've been working.
Let's
but
see what you come up with.
There are some people that you said have influenced your career. Obviously, we're gonna save your dad and your uncle for later down. But I want to ask these, and just when I say their name, give me something about them that if you one word, a phrase, whatever it is. Chick career.
Well, I got into Chick in high school. I just loved that the Return to Forever stuff, the Light as a Feather record. Oh, that was just, I couldn't take it off. So I gotta work some Chick in. I do 500 miles high.
Really?
Ooh, I said that now. I didn't think I was gonna. Do my musicians know it?
So
anyway,
that's coming
I
up
do that sometimes. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if everybody knows it. It seems possible. We'll have a sound check. It seems possible.
I like it.
I am. There's a couple of other Chick Corea songs that I intend to add because because I cannot do. I guess if I had to choose one, as much of an influence as Chick was, as much as I love Chick, if you make me name one, it's going to be Herbie Hancock, and I can't even do a set without doing one Herbie Hancock.
Yeah.
Nat Adderley is truly a fascinating talent. You've still got time to get down here to Florida A&M University. We're at Lee Hall, where he'll be performing live in just minutes. Behind me, you see that this team is heating up. They're getting ready for a sound check again, and they've been jamming today, as well as the crowds are coming. We've got more of my conversation with Nat Adderley, and of course, a look at how he lives his best life, living better mind, body, and soul. With more, Nat Adderley. We'll be right back.
One of the questions that I always find intriguing with people, we do a segment called Your Best Life on the show. How do you, through all that you've been through all the experiences that you've had, the people that you played with and that have influenced your career, and the things you've seen, how do you live your best life?
I'm living it. I don't know. I've been just enjoying this past time, saying that I got my last kid out of the house. going to college. I got four great kids. I just can't, that's my favorite thing. My career has been fine. I've wanted things. I put out quite a few records that I thought were going to be the one that got me my #1 record or got me my top 5 record in the country as a producer. Something happened with this. This group broke up before the record came out. This one, they just didn't get to that track. I don't know. Ruben Studdard just now didn't use the track that I thought was going to be a huge hit. That everybody that heard it thought so. It didn't even get on the record. I don't know. So anyway, so my career has been incredible. There really have been things I was really trying to do that didn't get done. But I just care so little about that stuff because what can I say, man? I mean, I got lucky or something 4 times, and that's my favorite thing in my life.
Living his best life. He says that the thing that makes him most proud about all this he's accomplished and all that he's done is simply family. He says having those 4 kids, getting lucky 4 times rather, and getting them out of the house and doing those amazing things has really changed the trajectory of his life as a whole. You know, sometimes it's about somebody outside of you, not just what you have done in your career, but helping to motivate and push someone else to the next level, namely your kids. That's another key to living your best life. Thanks so much, Nat, for that little tidbit of how to live better. Now, you can join Nat Adderley with me right here at Lee Hall FAMU. The concert starts in just moments, but you've got time to get here. The last word with Nikisha Price and some of the audience members is on the way next. We'll be right back.
Live from Lee Hall Auditorium at Florida A&M University, this is Bounce News at 7 at the Nat Adderley Jr. Returns Home Concert.
And we're live here on the campus of FAMU, and as always on Bounce News, you get the last word. You can hear behind me some students who are playing away, getting ready for the featured act tonight. Nat Adderley, got to throw in a little classical to get ready for the jazz. Music all has its roots there. Nikisha Price, our digital producer, is joining me for the last word. Who you got with you, Nikisha?
We have a wonderful lady, Donna. She won the tickets to come out today.
We talked on the phone last night.
Yes,
yeah, cool.
She is an amazing lady, and she just wanted to talk about a few things about, her jazz love and also about Nat Adderley. Tell me a few things about that.
Well, I've loved jazz since I was a child. My parents raised us up on jazz. We listened to Miles Davis getting up in the morning. Since then, all through my life, we've listened to Cannonball Adderley. So this is a special treat for me to be able to hear Nat play tonight. So
where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Chicago.
Okay. Big time jazz and blues.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Good
jazz
stuff.
and blues. So coming from the Midwest, that's what we like.
Yes.
And so now I'm getting a chance to enjoy it.
And my code name for Chicago, North Mississippi.
Right.
I call it.
Definitely.
All right. What are they saying on social media?
So we have
about
a few
that?
tweets. We actually have Raymond. He's a junior here at FAMU, and he says his life is about to change today after the performance with Nat Adderley Jr. He's been anticipating this. He's excited. So we're excited as well, especially Donna, because she won the tickets for the event.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And it's interesting to see that there's a new generation of jazz lovers that are here, because people, when you think of jazz and you look at razzmatazz and so many hip hoppers, a lot of the roots of where hip hop, I'm a hip hopper, I'm in the hip hop generation, a lot of the roots come from jazz and blues.
Right.
So we're going back home.
That's great.
Yeah.
Something interesting I found, Luther Vandross, he actually composed some of the music for him
He
and
composed
Beyonce.
most of Luther's
I was
stuff.
like, wait a minute, I was excited about that, definitely.
Nat Adderley is, and when we were talking, I kept calling him a legend. He's like, I'm not a legend.
Oh.
He is a living legend.
Right. The legacy lives on, for sure.
Good stuff. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. Again, this is Bounce News. You still got time to get here and join us for the concert tonight. I'm Rahman Johnson. That's the last word. Have an amazing weekend. Good night.